Okay, well, we'll start with our opening statements, and each candidate has 2 minutes. And you may notice during the debate that sometimes I will ask the candidate to summarize, and they'll have like 15 or so seconds to complete their thoughts. So that when I ask them to summarize, it does not mean they have to stop that second. So anyway, so Stacy, go ahead.
Thank you, Al, and thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for trusting me to serve as your council member. I'm the mother of 3 children, the wife of a small business owner, a homeowner, and an attorney. I share your desire to build a strong and resilient financial foundation for a clean, green, and safe community. As a member of your city council, I have supported funding capital improvements for our streets, sewers, sidewalks, storm drains in South Park, earmarking new non-resident tax revenues to fund our fire station improvements, allocating additional resources to our police department, establishing the citywide ban on smoking, and enforcing the existing ban on short-term vacation rentals in our residential zones. I supported ending the costly, decades-long threat of litigation from oil companies and supported business-friendly measures like approving A-frame signs, extending holiday parking hours, and cleaning up our downtown. After years of citizens' input and countless meetings and discussions about replacing our 40-year-old general plan, we finally have a new forward-looking Plan Hermosa. This plan meets the California state requirements, continues to place tough limits on population growth and density, while preserving the best aspects of our unique beach community. This plan will allow us to return local control of land use decisions to the people of Hermosa, saving our residents and business owners time, money, and frustration of dealing with a state agency that didn't always have Hermosa's best interest at heart. In looking towards the next 5 years, I'm prepared to deal with the important decisions connected with the transition to a vastly improved fire service, the protection and preservation of open space, the proposed downtown hotel, and other private and public improvements. I will continue to build consensus on City Council while working with residents and business owners alike to move the city forward. Thank you to all those who are here today in chambers and everyone watching from home.
Thanks, Stacy. Matt?
Thank you, Al. Thank you for everybody coming out here tonight. And I want to begin by acknowledging all the candidates that are up here. When I first got in this, I didn't really realize the amount of time and commitment it actually takes. So even serving on council, I have the greatest respect for the people who serve our community. It's a great honor to go ahead and also be up here with Mr. Peter Tucker and Mr. Hanny Fangari. They both appointed me to my commission. I'm the city commissioner for the Emergency Preparedness Commission. To give you a little bit of background about myself, born and raised here in Southern California, spent the early part of my life in Santa Monica, and I grew up in Thousand Oaks. Attended college at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and came back and started working in Los Angeles in the movie studios. I spent the early part of my career bouncing around between Disney and Universal. For the last 10 years, I've been working as a business process engineer, as a consultant. I currently work for the United States Navy as a contractor, and also serve with them as a reserve. One of the biggest questions I'm always asked, and I think it's probably the most important question to ask any candidate, is why do you want to do this? Why do you want to run for city council? And honestly, the biggest issue for me, I felt that after everything we went through after the oil, I really thought our city was going to come back together and be a beach community. And the big issue I think right now facing this city is carbon neutrality. And I find it a very divisive political issue, and I really want to see us become a beach community again. So I'm definitely running on a platform to bring us all back together. Another aspect of my platform is I'm very pro-public safety. As I mentioned earlier, I'm already on the Emergency Preparedness Commission. Also, I'm an instructor and a member of our CERT program, which is very, very important in case of a natural disaster. I'm part of Neighborhood Watch. I'm a Neighborhood Watch block captain. Excuse me. So these are the areas that I want to focus on. The main reason why I want to focus on public safety is seeing what happened to our fire station and ultimately our fire service. We let it get neglected to where it got. We got to a point where we couldn't resolve our fire department. We had to go ahead and outsource it. So I think it should be a lesson learned there from the city that we need to focus on public safety. Last part.
You can summarize.
Yes, Al, thanks. The last part I want to focus on is I think we have an overregulation problem. We learned this from the code enforcement study that this city is notoriously anti-business or not pro-business. And with the code enforcement issue, I'm going to go ahead and work on deregulating businesses.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Matt. Mary?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here and taking an interest in this truly important election. And also thank you, Al and Benson, for all the work he has put in to have us have this forum event tonight. I'm looking forward to addressing your questions and giving you as complete a picture as I can about how I think, how I operate, and what I would bring to the City Council if elected in November. I would consider it a great honor to serve the residents and businesses of Hermosa Beach, and I would bring a track record of focused, open-minded, and competent leadership to our City Council. I would also bring a fresh voice and some new perspectives. South Bay has been my home for the last 17 years, 11 years in Hermosa, and 9 years a homeowner in Hermosa. And when people say, why do you want to run, Mary? I say, very simply, I want to be able to contribute positively to forward progress in our city. And there are some very huge and important things that we need to accomplish together in the next 5 years. In 2013, I was elected to your Hermosa Beach School Board, and it's now my 4th year. At that time, I also became very involved in the community's efforts to defeat oil drilling in our city, which happily, after 2 years in the making, we were successful in March of 2015. Last year, while serving as school board president, our district successfully passed a much-needed school facilities bond to address severe overcrowding and aging facilities. This bond is absolutely vital to preserving Hermosa's long tradition of outstanding public schools for the next several generations of Hermosa kids and families. So I have worked hard and I have fought hard for what I believe was important for the future of this community, and it has only strengthened my commitment to Hermosa's future. I want to preserve Hermosa's values, and I also want to help lead to its brightest possible future. I bring 17 years of executive leadership experience and business expertise to the table. As an organizational psychologist, what I do for a living is I actually help organizations to become more effective, more efficient, more high-performing through better leadership, through an optimization of resources, and through fiscal accountability and responsibility. That's what I do for a living, and I understand complex systems. I think this will be an asset to the City Council if I were to be elected. I think that I would like to bring my experience to the Hermosa Beach City Council at this truly legacy-building time as we build our city together. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Haney?
Thank you, Al. I wanted to thank Al and the Hermosa Beach Neighborhood Association for hosting this debate. This is a great opportunity for all of you to hear what we have to say, and I think Al is going to allow people to ask questions as well, which is great. I also wanted to thank my wife, Dina, and my 2 kids. Those of you that know me well know that I went through an actual voting process in my household to see whether or not I should rerun for council. And it was a close vote, and I think my wife had to make the call to make the decision, so I really appreciate their support. So a little bit background about me. I'm an engineer by background, and then became a lawyer, do environmental work. I have about 30 years almost of experience in the engineering and the legal world. And I've been honored to serve on the council here for the last 4 years. Through the service on the council, I'm going to go through some of the things that I feel that we've accomplished that I'm proud of. And throughout tonight, you're going to hear me say we, not I, because I think collectively we acted as a council, worked together to solve a lot of the problems and the issues that the city had. Most of the issues that are of significance were actually voted unanimously by the council, even though we may disagree on some things. The entire council works together. So with the council member that's here on the dais, Stacey Armato, and the 3 other council members that are not here, we all work together collectively to make a lot of these big, important decisions for the city. And I'm going to go through a few of them real quick that I'm proud of. And I know Stacey mentioned a few of them, so some of them might be repetitive. But working together, and at least in the last 2 years, we have a unanimous vote on the budgets that we adopted. We also have unanimous votes in approving all the contracts for all the unions that work for the city. We also collectively eliminated essentially all the risk for oil drilling in Hermosa Beach, probably forever. We funded a new firehouse and upgraded our fire services. We funded collectively over the last 4 years over $25 million in infrastructure projects and upgrades. That includes streets, sewers, parks, and obviously one of the most recent one is the South Park, which I know a lot of you have gone to, and that work is still ongoing. We worked with the school board members and parents of our community to get funding for a new school and upgrading the existing schools. We completed a solar panel installation project in the community center that protected that roof of the community center and will basically essentially pay for itself. We implemented a facility improvement for various city buildings, including this building here, the Clark Building, and the Community Center, which are still ongoing. We helped our small businesses. I know Stacy mentioned a few of these things. We upgraded the parking meters in downtown so people can use their credit cards when they go to our businesses in downtown.
Haney, you can summarize.
Okay. Well, to summarize, one of the last thing I'll mention, 2 years ago, I started this community meeting, which basically allows the community to get to know what's going on in the city, ask questions. We meet once a month here in City Council chambers. I'm very proud of that process. It allows me to answer questions, it allows the community to interact, and I'm looking forward to, if I get elected, to continue that dialogue. And then lastly, people ask, my colleagues answer, why do you want to run again? And I think my main thing I want to run again is because when I go to Tower 12, people there think I'm the mayor still, and they give me a really nice table. So if I get reelected again, I maybe have the chance of that happening again. Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Haney. Trent?
Hello, good evening, and thank you for coming tonight. I moved to the South Bay in 1984, and I've lived in Hermosa since 2003. I'm married to my wife, Ann, for 25 years, and we have our daughter, Taylor, who attends Redondo Union High School. I've been an AYSO coach since 2013, both summer and fall, and I recently retired from that so that I could spend my time at my job and also running for council, and should I be elected a council member. In the spring, I had 22 9th and 10th grade girls on my team, and we won the championship, and I'm very proud of that. Moving on, I am running because I feel that I could offer constructive and inspirational leadership to the city of Hermosa and the council. My core message puts Hermosa Beach first. I believe that we have, for a long time, not focused on the needs of our city. Our tax dollars need to be spent on visible, usable improvements that we can all benefit from. And some of the low-hanging fruit, the things that we've been talking about for years, are like our sewers and our streets. But we also could spend a lot more money on our other public places, such as our city parks, such as our green belt, and a whole host of other things that we could spend our money on here that we could use and see. The city buildings, for example, we've talked about that a lot, and I think right now we're studying the library. And for example, the library would be one of the first things that I would think that we could rework, because learning has changed so much. Education has changed. The information that comes down is completely different. So we should focus on improving Hermosa and Hermosa first. Other things I would support would be our businesses. For example, the Skechers project. There is no reason why we should not be working very closely with Skechers to put that in, because there's a risk that we will lose that project. Skechers is a publicly held company, okay? The Greenbergs own most of the stock, but they could back out of the deal if their stockholders wanted them to move to, say, Torrance. So we really need to focus on that. We also need to focus on getting the Strand and Pier project in, because we need to replace the existing structures on the pier that are vacant.
Summarize.
And I'll summarize by saying, I also believe in transparent Hermosa governance. That is the act of governing. I want to support the reconstruction of our schools, and I want to upgrade our police and fire services now that we've moved into the county. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thanks, Trent. Pete?
Thank you. First, I want to thank Alan for all your work. Your staff report was marvelous. I had to go buy some more ink just to print it out because we kept getting updates. And also, if you go to my website, electpetertucker.com tomorrow, I'll have all the minutes of this meeting so you can see what we all said, and hopefully I'll record them accordingly. First, I want to thank my wife, Sienna, for allowing me to run for City Council to represent you, the residents. To everyone in attendance and those watching from home, thank you for taking the time to hear how, together, we can continue to make Hermosa Beach the best little beach city. I'm Peter Tucker, candidate for Hermosa Beach Council, asking for your vote to represent you, the residents of Hermosa Beach. I'm a 47-year resident of Hermosa Beach, and currently I'm a senior building inspector and I've been a general building contractor for over 42 years. I've raised 2 sons in this community. They went to all our school systems, and we played all in the local youth sports activities. I have over 35 years of community service on projects such as the Beach City Toy Drive, the Tim Kelly statue, Veterans Are Timeless Memorial, Vintner Windmill, and the Surf Memorial, and many other community projects. I've served as your planning commissioner for 12 years and then was elected as your city councilman representative for 12 years. With my civic and professional building background, together we can move the goals of Hermosa Beach and the city infrastructure projects forward in a common sense approach while remembering Hermosa's past as we build the city's future. I will focus on these aspects as your city councilman. To see the completion of the Aviation Pacific Coast Highway Corridor, Hermosa Beach has already invested $1 million for an EIR study with Caltrans to make these corridors a safe, sustainable, and efficient transportation system. This is probably more than we really invested in a lot of our even CIP projects. This is a very important project for the city. I will ensure a common sense approach to modernizing our city facilities. Future developments such as the Mermaid site, Skechers, and others, I will ask developers to contribute to improvements within the city of Hermosa Beach.
You can summarize?
I will not support the CCA, known as the Community Choice Aggregation or Hermosa Power Utility. I think today the efficiency of the electrical system and how we build buildings has made that a moot point. Sewer improvement plan, I think we need to start construction and have an oversight committee of the funding. Please go to my website, electpetertucker.com, to see other programs that I feel need to be considered so that we never lose sight of our heritage and our beloved beach culture. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.